We're live today and on the road to 50 million. Today I picked sorrow as the topic, and there's certainly plenty of that going around in the world. Um, you can't even see anything without seeing someone's sorrow. I had the opportunity to have, it seems like this happens at least once a day, but today it was particularly stark. I had the opportunity to converse with someone who had that tone of sadness. And I always start these with an invitation, and so I'm going to do that today. The road to 50 million is my project from October 14th, a month ago, to October 14th, 2023, and it's to help 50 million people to discover and serve with their gifts. And that means, how do you make a living doing what you love? It means, how do you create value and share it in a way that is fulfilling to you and valuable to those you serve, so that you can not just you can make a living, you can feel good, you can love every day. And I had several conversations today that just reminded me of this opportunity. So my commitment this year, 50 million. And I'm doing it with all the different ways that I can. I've got a television program, I've got a YouTube channel, I've got these lives, I've got a podcast, I've got books. I've got 18 done. I'm writing two more, but here's my invitation. I would invite you to help me, because my goal is to help 50 million people figure out how to be happy. And that's one way to say it. I call it live the ultimate life. That's another way to say it. And I define all those things. The ultimate life is a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. And maybe you're already doing that. I'd love to hear from you if you are. Send me a note. Comment on this or connect with me and say so. I'm living the ultimate life. I have all the prosperity and purpose and joy that I want. And the reason is because my podcast is titled Your Ultimate Life, and I love talking to people on there as guests who feel like they're living that ultimate life, purpose, prosperity, and joy. And I want to help you share how you did that and what you're enjoying, and you know how to do that and how you got there. Because here's what I notice. I notice that 90 something percent of the conversations that I have, the people that I talk to, struggle in some way with this process. They either don't believe they can have that ultimate life, they don't believe it's for them, or that it's possible for them to have that kind of life. And I used to believe that. I used to think that my time had passed me by, that I'd had an opportunity and I hadn't done it well enough, and so I lost it. You know, all of those kinds of things. I used to believe that with all my heart and just sort of wistfully think about what I'd lost. Well, that was one conversation I had today with someone who wasn't thinking about what they lost, but what they were thinking about is, I don't think I can ever do that. It's too big, it's too hard, it's too fuzzy. And, you know, the answer to any project you want to do is just to get started. I don't care if it's a gigantic project. You know, 50 million might sound like a lot. I don't really think it is. The first time I started this some time ago, it was much smaller, 1 million and then 10 million and now 50. And I'm very committed to it. I will reach this, and I'm inviting you to help me. So if you have an idea about how to help me reach my 50 million, I'd love to hear it. If you are someone that I am able to help to do what, help what, to discover the gifts you have and learn how to use them to serve and be fulfilled, make your own mark in the world and make a living. So the words make a difference. I've learned how to do that. Make a difference with the gifts I have. It took me a long time to learn it, and I made lots of mistakes. And so helping you find your gifts and figure out how to serve with them effectively so that you have an impact and that you can create money, a business, if you want to. So that's what the project of 50 million is about. It's about helping you have a life where every single day you're connected with your purpose, prosperity, and joy. The first of the two conversations I want to talk about that led me to use sorrow as the topic today was a wistful overlay to a pleasant conversation where this person wanted to make an impact and they were talking all about that. And the struggle was, I don't know how, and I don't know if I can get paid, and, all of those kinds of things. And it's funny when you talk enough to people about this process, the things you hear are the same over and over again. Number one is, gee, I don't think I have a gift or gifts. Two, well, if I do, it's certainly not big enough to matter. Well, it might be big enough to matter, but I don't know how to make money with it. I don't know how to make a business with it. As if that were some kind of mysticism. It's not. Making money with something you do is very simple. You have to package it in a way that people can understand, and then you have to make it available to those that need it. Now, that sounds really simple, but that's the same thing as shoes. If I go to the store and all the shoes are in a big bin, or there's just someone there talking about how cool shoes are, or that they might have some good shoes later in the year, that doesn't do well. But if I go to the store and they're on display and I can try them on, then I buy shoes. Your gifts are the same. And we get lost in the idea that, well, they're kind of airy-fairy and it's hard to quantify. No, they're not. They're easy to quantify. It's easy to quantify and describe clearly to the right person what you do in a way that they understand and they can tell whether or not they want it. Any barrier to that is in our heads. And that was the case in this first conversation. We talked about how to get a message out and talked about podcasts and videos and all kinds of things. And none of those are mysteries and none of them are difficult to do. You know what the barrier was? Getting started. Getting started. Recording and sharing. Because stories, right? The second conversation, which made me want to put today's title as sorrow, is someone who had done things in the past and had success and felt good about those things, but was today in a very wistful, oh, I want to do this thing and I can't, and sort of the helpless, it's too late, I don't have time or money or whatever to do the thing. And again, the answer's the same: get started. And it's easy for me to say, well, get started. There's lots of pieces to it. There's lots of reasons we don't do what we could do. And that's another piece of sorrow. In both of these conversations, I felt two things. I felt very empathetic. I loved both of these folks I talked to. I felt an upwelling of love. And I wanted and did encourage them that that I could see their capability, I could see the value, and I knew for sure there were people, large numbers of people, who needed what they had to offer. And that encouragement was the first thing I felt. And the second one, there was a little sadness because I don't know what each of these individuals will do, but mostly I see people around us all settling for mediocrity. And that is so sad. Why do we settle for mediocrity? Why do we settle for crumbs? You know what the truth is? You're a glowing divine being from the universe. And you may not have been told that. You may have been told it and you don't believe it. You may have been beat down. You may have tried and failed. Okay. All those things happen to everybody. Me too. Been told no way. Been beat down. Had all kinds of problems. Struggle. In fact, in one of the conversations, I said, this one was yesterday, I think that getting beat down and having struggles, that's just part of the process. And we were talking about, well, if you try something and you dive in and you do it really hard for a year or two and it doesn't work, is that a waste of time? And I described the journey that I've been on. In 2007, 15 years ago, I left the career I'd been in for 30 years. Walked away, started all over, completely eliminated all of it. Boom, done. Wow. And he said, 15 years? That's so long. And I thought, 15 years to me seems like 15 minutes now. And I'm certainly at the other end of life compared to this individual. This particular individual's in his 30s, I think. And 30 years ago, 35 years ago, I can remember that when I turned 30. And I guess it does seem like a long time. But here's the kicker. Okay, don't start because it's hard and it's long. And 15 years is still going to go by. Click, 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 right? And it still won't be done. So start. Don't wait. End procrastination. Take the first step. Get the help, the encouragement you need. One of the questions that someone asked me recently was, what does it take to be a coach? What does it take to be a coach like you are? They were talking to me, asking me, and I thought about it and I was trying to think about what was most important. And you know what I said? I said, the most important piece is that you love people. You can be full of advice. You can be full of all the right answers. But unless there's a basket of encouragement and love, it probably won't take. We've all read or heard or seen videos that have all the right answers for whatever our problems are. Problems aren't problems, they're growth opportunities. Action solves everything. Inaction solves nothing. And sometimes the right action is to wait, but then you're waiting on purpose, not waiting out of fear or, I don't know what to do. A choice to wait can be a wise choice. But then there's a reason and there's a time-bound thing. So my goal and my daily activity now is I'm going to reach 50 million people and help you discover the gifts that you have and then serve with them. Now, that service might be a business and make money. It might be something you do from your heart. It might be a mix of that. But the key to happiness is to discover your gifts and live in love and service. That's it. It sounds woo-woo and weird, but you can turn that into the most glorious and fun and beautiful and fulfilling business. Another person asked me just today, what do you do when you're not working? And I laughed and I said, I don't work. I'm committed to help 50 million people discover and serve with their gifts, and that's not work. I write books. I teach people to write books. I edit some clients' books. I'm in the studio later today. I'm going to record some music. I'm going to put another video up later today with a song from one of the albums that I've done recently, telling stories from the books of my own journey, Tightrope and Down from the Gallows. And so I'm going to do that today. And I have conversations with many people, and I don't work. I don't do anything else. And I love it. You can live the ultimate life. And if you are, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me how you did it, because maybe you should be on my podcast, Your Ultimate Life. Look it up. If you want to do that, look it up on Amazon or Spotify, Your Ultimate Life. Listen to a few episodes and see if you think it's a fit. Then reach out to me if you're living that kind of life where you have all the purpose, prosperity, and joy you can stand. I love what I do, and I love you for being alive, for being the person you are, for every single good thing you do. I love it. I'm committed to reaching my 50 million. This video, this short little thing talking about sadness, sorrow, struggles, opportunity, recovery, resilience, growth, that's part of it. Thank you for watching. If I can help you reach out, we'll see you tomorrow.